Okay, class, welcome to the post-video discussion about the YouTube documentary recording of the original monkey slash mother love experiment done by Harry Harlow back in the 1950s. So, in his experiment, he's really looking at what is more important to a baby monkey. Before we get going, make sure you actually watch the video, answer the questions you have to know what is love before you can continue on from here. I'll wait. So it's really looking at, will these baby monkeys prefer a food mother or a cloth mother? And they have a really tough choice at this, it would seem, but we saw over and over again that these monkeys preferred affection. That even that little bit of cloth provided some sensation of warmth and love for them, and the infant monkeys over and over again chose to have their comfort needs met over those of their bare physical needs of food. So he suggested that the development of a child's love for their caregiver was emotional rather than physiological. Okay, so this is very important in changing the way how science was perceiving early child development. Okay, what does this mean for us? Harlow showed that this development of attachment was closely associated with critical periods in early life. It is difficult or impossible to compensate for the loss of initial emotional security. And we can see this from the studies done by attachment on children and what the results are later on, what emotional difficulties they might have if they have insecure or avoidant attachment. Now, further experiments on abusive conditions showed that no matter how abusive or mean the Iron Maidens or the Wire Monkeys were, the baby monkeys always came back and displayed affection towards them. Even in the face of abuse, the need for love is overwhelming. What happened to these monkeys? The monkeys raised without their mothers or other monkeys were socially maladjusted, so they didn't perform normally in society the rest of their lives. When confused or confronted with fear, they displayed autistic and institutional behaviors, throwing themselves on the floor, clutching themselves, rocked back and forth, and screamed in terror. So they did not respond well the rest of their life. They were incapable of having sexual relations, and they also were unable to parent their offspring, either abusing or neglecting them. So as far as love or affection is concerned, psychologists have failed their mission. The little we know about love does not transcend simple observation, and the little we write about it has been written better by poets and novelists. So we understand more about what the effects this has and what people prefer, but we still don't know exactly what love is. Different psychologists will tell you different things, but it's still a little bit of a mystery. So we talked about this in the last lecture, how the Romanian orphans who were left without any kind of simulation, their brains did not develop as strongly because of this, and they often ended up developmentally challenged the rest of their lives. Now, did his work influence our society? Well, the answer is true, but I'm going to show you a series of statements, and if they're true or false, and you think about what did people believe back then, and has things changed because of Harlow. So the first one, less than 50 years ago, parents were told by doctors that rocking or picking up a crying infant could damage them. And the answer to that is true. They were told not to coddle children. Now we see from these studies that kids do need to be held. They need to know that they're safe. They need to have that secure attachment around them. The next one, lack of attachment can be made up for later in life by a lot of contact with peers. False. And we saw this from the video near the very end where the monkeys still had the friends, but they still wanted back to the parent. Next one, this was a common thought. Do not overindulge them. Do not kiss them goodnight. Rather, give a brief bow and shake their hand before turning off the light. And this is what people used to do. Now we know from Harlow, it's not what you should be doing with a child. The last question here, is it beneficial to place a newborn directly on its mother's belly after birth? And the answer to that is true. Okay, and this has become a big trend recently, where right after a child is born, even if they're early, to put them skin to skin contact for at least an hour. And some studies have shown this decreases stress immediately and seems to create a long lasting bond between the parents and the children. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you answer all those questions as well as the ones about parents. And I included that article that goes with that as well with the extra information. Have a great week.